What's up, my ninjas? I'm Stratton, and I am back with another video. This time I'm going to weigh in on all the Toy Fair stuff, and I'm throwing in some things that caught my attention from the Winter Wonder Festival. It's a Japanese festival with more, my kind of figures. Um, I'm not going to give you guys the usual dick riding kind of reviews of Marvel Legends because I have a very distinct stance on the new Marvel Legends and why everybody goes crazy, and I'm going to give it to you right now. I feel that the bar had been so low and that Hasbro had spent so much time telling collectors how much they can't get and how expensive it is to make good figures and to retool and to blah blah blah, that now that they're getting this stuff, the fans are going crazy because they thought they would never get it. So they feel like they have to give Hasbro so much props for every tiny little bit that they are getting. And, it's just not true that it's that difficult and that expensive to make these toys that awesome. And some of these are really awesome. I mean, like the Ant-Man stuff. And I knew that the movie stuff would kick the shit out of the regular Legends, but it seems like everybody is so crazy for all these D and C list characters that they didn't think they would ever get figures of, that they're going nuts. And so much of what we're seeing is repainted, reused bodies. I mean, there's two versions of that Hulk being released this year. One with brown pants and a shaved head, and that one. It's just not, they're not really innovating. And they've done this for so long that it's making you guys feel like you have to be so thankful every time they give you something. And it's a shame because it's supposed to be fun, just, off the rip. This is all fun. And I hate seeing a company, hold their fans hostage like that, hold your expectations hostage, and lower the bar in a devious kind of way. I mean, this figure right here, I've heard so much talk about it. That is a shitty figure. It's a basic black body with no tooling. I mean, I know there's a new torso up in there somewhere, but you shouldn't be excited over that. You should be excited over them, like Bulldozer. That's a better example of what you should be excited over because it's a bigger, I think he's bigger. If he's not, that would be criminal. But it's another figure that you needed to finish off a team, and it's done in a way that, he looks right, Same goes for this Giant Man. How many of us have been looking for Giant Man? Now, what's criminal is that I don't think he's the Build-A-Figure for this wave, when he should have been the Build-A-Figure, because the Hasbro or the Toy Biz one goes for way too much. This Wasp, much needed figure. I love this design. I love that face sculpt. She looks so nice, just pretty and nice. And those wings are beautiful. Back to the Ant-Man stuff. Look at how many different versions of Ant-Man we're getting and how many different scales and all the stuff they're doing. I'm loving it because he's one of the characters that's been sorely underrepresented in the MCU, especially in Marvel. I shouldn't say the MCU, but in the figure form of the MCU, which is Marvel Legends. Tiger Shark, I don't know why the fuck you guys are going so nuts about this figure. It's the same exact figure as Blizzard, just different colors. It's just not, I don't know. But the movie stuff, like I said, most of the time, they really bring the ruckus with the movie stuff. And speaking of movie stuff, that's what I'm going to transition into. I'm kind of over Marvel Legends, but these are the figures that impressed me. And, some of them that impressed me. Others, I'm just going to talk about them because they're there. So this is the Hulkbuster wave. Blizzard. Meh. I'm not really going to talk about him. Now, Doctor Strange, I've wanted a new Doctor Strange for a while. And this looks pretty good, even though I missed the cape and, I think that's the Eye of Agamotto on his belt. I don't know. This right here, this Iron Man, once again, how are you excited for this shit? Fundra. Freaking awesome. That's a beautiful figure. It's nice to see them use a female butt the right way. Valkyrie. I don't know. She looks so plain, and I don't like the way her hair sits on her face. Vision. Too bulky, but it's still okay. In this case, it's an okay use of the overused Bucky Cap body. War Machine. We already got this figure. It was a variant. I guess now everyone who didn't get it the first time can get it now. That's your wave. Now here's the Ultron wave. This is the movie wave. From what I've seen, this is the movie wave. I could be wrong in how this stuff is set up, but I've seen it in so many different ways, I don't know what's what. So Giant Man somehow is part of this. And it's weird the way they mix the stuff up. Now, I'm going back to what I started saying about this Grim Reaper. They could have redone this design, you know, added things to it, like lines that are glowing, or, you know, I don't know, pockets, or some fancy kind of boots with, like, you know, armor pieces on them or something. That black suit bullshit, he doesn't even have a belt on. That's just lame. And I'm hearing so much talk about this figure. I'm not impressed, you know, and maybe it's just me. Tiger Shark. Really? I know you need bad guys for your good guys, but really? Wasp, once again, it's not the Jubilee figure. This is the adult female body, and it looks great. Now, the Amazon box set, it's a 3-pack, or 4-pack, I'm sorry, that has Thor, Banner, Bruce Banner, Hawkeye, and the new version of the Widow. This Thor actually seems to be, him and Banner seem to be like the two that you should get out of the pack, because even though it's the same costume that the Marvel Select is wearing, he has better articulation than the Marvel Select, and he can put his hands up above his head, so you can have him probably in flying poses. And if he has a disc, you know, hinge neck, then that would be awesome for flying. Even though it doesn't look like Chris Hemsworth, you know what I'm saying? If you have the Marvel Select, you can always switch the head. This figure here is cool because we need more of the secret identity versions of a lot of the Marvel characters, shit, and DC characters, because a lot of times they don't do this, and it's something that I've always wondered, why not? Give us the dressed down versions of a lot of these characters, especially now since we see that more often in the films. So that's a good thing. This, it's pretty much just them correcting, and I'll give them props for this, it's them correcting what they didn't do right with the first release of this figure from the first Avengers you know, line. So it's the exact same figure, a slightly different paint job on the purplish maroon, and a different head. Meh. And this paint job is horrible. And this is the prototype, and usually the prototype looks dope, and then you're like, damn, I can't wait to get that. This prototype looks like shit. And the fact that it's just the same old, the guns can't come out, they didn't fix the holsters, same exact figure you had before that we went through all that struggling and, you know, waiting to get, it's just not cool. So boo to them for that. This is the 3-pack. It's an exclusive. I don't remember if it's to Target or if it's to Toys R Us. I know that the Shield pack is exclusive to Toys R Us, so this might be a Target exclusive again. But this is more of the modern Hulk, but as I said before, if you look at those pants, you can see the lines and everything. It's exactly the Age of Ultron Hulk with a new head and a different paint job on those pants. It's kind of lame, considering that it's in the same year, this is what people are getting, but I guess it gives people choices. Here's a new Ultron, and I kind of like it, you know? It's more of the Ultron that I wanted to see, with the big evil jack-o'-lantern face, and I like that. And the fact that they reused parts from Ultimate Beetle is not a bad thing in this case, because Chris from Happy Day Customs and so many other people turned their Ultimate Beetle bodies into awesome Ultrons like that, so Hasbro must have been watching. This is Vision from the 90s. I like that. He still should be skinnier. Here's the Rhino wave. People are ranting and raving about this wave, but I think certain things are really good and certain things are just meh. Now, we should have had a Chameleon a long time ago. I think we did. This idea of him being a suited character with these two heads, Hammerhead and J. Jonah Jameson, I think that's a dope idea. That way, if you want a J. Jonah Jameson or a Hammerhead, you just buy this figure twice or 3 times, and it kind of makes sure that Hasbro will get double or triple the money. Ghost Rider. I need a new Ghost Rider. This one looks dope. Just simply love the fact that they used most of the Star-Lord body or the AIM Soldier body, and they tweaked things to make it look better. He's got the right size. It's Johnny Blaze again, but whatever. You know, you can flip it out the way you want to, use it for who you want it to be. This Kraven, this is like the best figure that to me, this is the best figure that they previewed at this, you know, at Toy Fair. That's a dope figure. Misty Knight. That's a figure I never thought I would see, and they really didn't do anything to this costume. They should have released a 3-pack with her, Colleen Wing, and Shang-Chi done up the same way they did Iron Fist, and just had it like, you know, Disciples of the Dragon or Daughters of the Dragon 3-pack or something, because that's what they're best known for. And you would have rounded things out. But no, they're going to just give you the one character. Most people have no clue where she comes from, because a lot of these fans of Legends don't really read all the books. You know, they read certain books. This is a terrible costume. I'm surprised they brought it back. When people bitch about the 90s, it's characters like this. I mean, he had better looks. This is a cool looking figure, the Superior Venom. You know, it's just kind of weird that he's showing up in this line. And then the White Tiger. Yeah, you know, nice looking female figure. Meh. Now the Rhino. People are making all this big deal. The Marvel Select one is superior, period. You know the paint's not going to look that good on the final. You know it's not going to have the articulation, the heft, the weight, the everything that the Marvel Select one goes. So save yourself all the trouble and go now and go buy the Marvel Select one. I guarantee you he's going to be smaller. He's not going to look as, you know, intimidating when you put him next to your various Spider-Man related heroes or your Marvel Universe heroes. And why does the one head have the mask on and the one head not have the mask on when he's kind of stuck in his suit? It's just, I don't know. So anyway, this is the part where I'm going to actually geek out. Doctor fucking Strange. That looks amazing. Marvel Select, even though they have the crazy giant scale, you know, even though it's just a few inches off, they just always bring it. I mean, the sculpts are always better than the Marvel Legends stuff. The paint is always better in most cases than the Marvel Legends stuff. And they have a couple examples of figures that have the perfect amount of articulation to complement the sculpt, rather than chopping up an okay sculpt just so you can get so many points of articulation that the figure has fucking JGS. Or I'm sorry, GJS. Gummy Joint Syndrome. So, you know, I dig this. This looks fucking amazing. You know I'm all about Marvel Selects, you know. Sometimes they don't necessarily fit with your Marvel Legends. Most of the time they don't. But a lot of times they just do better figures than Marvel Legends. Case in point, this Black Widow figure. Look at already the different paint applications. You've got grays, you've got blacks, you've got glossy, you've got flat. You've got all kinds of stuff going on in here. And they actually resculpted the figure to look like the freaking character from the movie, with all the different changes, subtle changes that they did. I mean, why is that such a tall order to ask from Marvel Legends when there are customizers that do that shit with these figures? The face sculpt looks good, even though right now it looks like Scarlett Johansson with like almost no makeup on, you know, except for around her eyes. It still looks good. And it doesn't look overdone. You know, her boobs aren't like popping out of the costume or whatever. Yeah, I wouldn't complain if they did it, but it just, you know, that's not how she appears in the film. So this is a lot more on model or on point to what you see in the film. Here's another one, the Hulk. Not only does he have the size and whatnot, but he's got the new pants, you know. What I don't like about this figure, and I guess it makes sense in a way to do it the way they've done it, is that once again, this is a reuse of the previous Avengers Hulk figure with just the retooled legs. But see, retooling is important. And the Marvel, I know the Marvel Legends one is similar in that way. So, you know, I guess this is where they get away with it. But, you know, I don't like seeing it as much as Hasbro does it. Another retool. I have this figure. This is the Dark World Thor, repainted to, I guess, resemble what he looks like in the Avengers movies, the new Avengers movie. And I'm not a fan of that. I wish they would have retooled him and engineered him so he could actually fly with his arms up, outstretched above his head, give him better, make the hair softer so he could look up when he flies, you know, things like that. This is the stuff that I get from the figures that I really like from, you know, my Japanese figures, but I don't get them with American figures. Now this right here, the Marvel Select version of Ant-Man, that is freaking beautiful. More textures going on, more paints. You know, it just looks better than the Hasbro one. But I'm going to probably get the Hasbro one because more of them will be floating around in my area. And there's so many versions to get. You know, I could get a tiny one while I'm waiting to find the larger one. So, you know, this is still dope, though. Cable. Many of us talked about this. ODC, that's me, and I had been talking about him and Carnage. We mentioned him on an Off the Brain like earlier last year. I am going to get this figure. As soon as I see him, I'm going to get him. Same goes for the Carnage figure. That's the next slide. But this is an amazing figure. It looks beautiful. It makes you forget that Rob Liefeld created this guy. This Carnage kicks the shit out of the Marvel Legends one. And I don't care if he's lacking the articulation. Look at all the accessories he comes with. Look at all the crap, the symbiote pieces, tendrils jumping off of his back. That's Carnage. The texture, everything, that's Carnage. Not that figure that we all hunted for so hard in that Amazing Spider-Man 2, Infinite series. That was just kind of like, I guess it was a holdover. Look at this alternate head. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, I've seen people do customs. I think Wyland Customs did one like this that was really dope, where he sculpted all the tendrily stuff going on around his face. That's awesome. That's worth the 20-something 99, 24, 21.99 you might pay at the comic book store for the figure. I mean, it's telling you the tale of the figure. You're looking at him and you can see that guy's crazy underneath that. And they didn't spare any expense when it came to the paint, sculpting, or even the tooling. I mean, look at that. That's dope, man. That's fucking dope. That's what we should be getting from Marvel Legends at this point, with the articulation that Marvel Legends have. Engineer that shit, paint it up right, sculpt the fuck out of those characters, then charge $21.99 for them. Don't sit here and give us that bullshit. Oh, it's too expensive to do that shit. Get out of here. Which will bring me up to my next point, and that's NECA. I've been saying for a long time, NECA is one of the last great American action figure companies, because they do things better and in a way that you're just like, wow, how did they do that? Like, look at this Ripley. She's like gorgeous, and the colors, the paints, and everything. Even this diorama that they probably will not sell, like at retail outlets. It's just beautiful, though. You know what I mean? It looks like a shot from the film, especially if you light it the right way. Here's a close-up of the Ripley, so you can see her kind of as she will appear in the package. We've wanted Ripley for a while. I mean, she's a badass character. She's probably one of the most, if not the most badass female in film, like action film. And finally, we get this figure, and nothing looks shitty on this figure at all. I've heard people bitch about the likenesses, but you guys don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So many people I hear say, oh, it kind of looks like it, doesn't look like, whatever. Power Loader. Power Loader is, what else do I have to say? It's iconic, it's big, it's going to fit your Ripley, and it's going to be able to stand up to the Queen. That's all you wanted, right? And that's the only job they had to do. And they did it to the fucking T. And this Power Loader will actually come with the James Cameron, Aliens version of Ripley. And, I mean, what else is there for you to ask for? It's just, when you see it done right, it's like, it's such a beautiful thing. And people complain, and people want to, justify, the lack of understanding, or the whatever it is that drove them to this kind of stuff and focus on the Legends, and to each their own. But it's a fact that you're looking at more detail. You're looking at, more quality, better paint. In some cases, I will say that there are things they don't do as amazing as the Legends, because the Legends, I guess, are made more for kids, made more for play, but they're kind of under the guise of a collector's action figure. But, I mean, you can't beat what NECA's giving you, And this is like, these figures are under like $50. Like, come on. Dante from Devil May Cry. What? I don't even need to say anything. The figure looks amazing. He's coming with ebony and ivory, gunshot effects, his shotgun, the sawed-off shotgun. I think he has Rebellion or the Force Edge, one of the two of them. I mean, he just looks dope. What the fuck, man? I don't even need to say anymore. It's just a good figure. It's going to be awesome. More Pacific Rim stuff. Essentially, what they've done is they've taken a movie that was kind of decisive in the box office and made just enough to, warrant sequels and a TV series and blah, blah, blah. But they've been a big hit as far as collectors go, because there aren't that many American giant robot franchises out there besides Power Rangers. And that's not even American. Predator, There's a 25th anniversary comic series. That's the first Predator comic, and they've painted up their figures to look like it. And then Predator 2, it's a City Hunter Predator from the game. I think that's the Genesis version of the game. That's why he's not as pixelated. But that's dope. They're giving you everything you could want from this Predator line. And I got a couple more things. One more thing. They actually went and made or redid the Wolf, Scar, and Celtic Predator from AVP. I mean, the movie was bad, but they got the look of these Predators right, and they look kind of cool. And I've always wanted to get them again after the shoddy job that McFarlane did, and hopefully these will hold up, once they hit mass, retail. But they look awesome. They look fucking awesome. And I mean, what else would you expect from NECA? I mean, they do good shit. It's just, man, they really brought their A game. Quarter scale figures. They did a quarter scale Danny DeVito as the Penguin, which means at some point we will get a 1/6 scale. What is that? 18th, a 6-inch version of this figure in some way, shape, or form. Maybe he will come with the returns, special edition or something. And then this blew my mind because we knew it was coming. Christopher Reeves as Superman. Finally. So that I can't wait to get a 6-inch version of that. That will just, man, mind completely blown. Inner kid will be giggling and smiling and happy and sitting here, geeking out to the fullest because, something I've wanted for a very long time has been made. Now we move on to DC collectibles. They actually kind of had some stuff that I was really into and some stuff that I really didn't care about. I'm not big on Arkham Knight, but these figures look really nice. I'm not going to diss them at all. I like what I've seen. And it's weird because I wasn't a fan of the Arkham Knight suit. I'm still not a big fan, but this figure holds together well. The proportions look right. Whereas like in the game, he just looks way top heavy. He's got that light bulb thing going on. The Arkham Knight himself looks really cool. I like the designs on him. He's kind of a must-have just from a design standpoint. And I know we've seen them before Toy Fair 2015, but this is stuff that was shown again. DC Collectibles had a really strong showing. I mean, it seemed like they just kept pouring stuff out, just like Hasbro was. The difference here is that, unlike Hasbro, 95% of what you saw was a new sculpt. And, some people will say, oh, you're being a fanboy about DC Collectibles. Nope, because I've bitched and moaned to them about the things that they fucked up that I've already paid for. So seeing that it looks like they're upping the ante with their sculpts, their QC has been getting better. We're seeing improvement. So, I'm calling it how I see it. And that being said, everything looks good. I don't really like this design. Some of these designs are my least favorite of the Arkham series, but they look like really cool figures. Lots of detail, lots of paint variation. I don't know what the articulation will be like, but from what they've been doing, it looks pretty good. A Bruce Wayne figure. I just made my Bruce Wayne figure. Now we got a bigger, older looking Bruce Wayne figure. That's dope. It's about time. I just finished talking about that on the Marvel side. We need more of the heroes in their civilian clothes, and to finally get a Bruce Wayne and the Arkham City version, hey, I'm cool with that. He kind of has all the traits that you would want in a Bruce Wayne figure, so that's pretty dope. I don't know. There's not too much else to say. I only cherry picked because I'm not going to go ham. A lot of reviewers are like, oh, you're a collector, buy everything. No, fuck that. I buy what I like. I don't know when it became synonymous with being a collector that you just buy shit for the sake of buying it. You don't even like it and you buy it. That's never how I've done things, and I'm not going to support that kind of philosophy. Shiva. I've been waiting for a good Shiva figure forever, since back when I was reading the Cassandra Cain Batgirl series, and this Shiva looks dope. It just will do the job. I don't care that she's from the Arkham universe. She looks like what I would want my Shiva to look like. And then this Harley Quinn, she looks, wow. It's obviously her before everything happened, or maybe it's after. I don't know, but I'm thinking this is before she went crazy, and it looks good. My goodness, it looks really good. It looks so good. She could even be a separate character. I know who she is, but you know, if you wanted to use her as like, you know, someone else like Vicky Vale or something like that, you could pull that off, you know. But good shit coming from Arkham Knight. And then here we have the stuff from Arrow. These were the only three that piqued my attention because of the three, I just want Diggle and Felicity. Fuck that Arsenal. That costume is fucking horrible. It's too many different patterns going on. He's got his fucking Adidas with the tongue sticking up. I'm like, man, you need to get that shit out of here. Like, I'm waiting for the toy to jump off the page and start b-boying and shit and breaking and popping and locking and whatnot. Like, that is a fucking horrible design. I mean, I think it wouldn't be so bad if he had, like, a better lower half. Because it doesn't look that bad on the show. But I guess you don't really see all that shit on the show. But Felicity and Diggle all the way. Because you got to have your little supporting cast. And that'd be cool to have them. Hopefully they'll have more articulation in what you see in the pictures. The Flash. I was just piqued by the way that Captain Cold looked in toy form. Because in the show, he looks just like this. But, you know, seeing the toy of it, I'm kind of like, huh, maybe I'll get that. Because I don't have an updated Captain Cold. I just have the DCUC Captain Cold. And it would be nice to have him and Heatwave. I'm hoping they do the rest. And then there's this baby. Oh, my God. From Batman Animated Series, DC Collectibles is finally doing the Batmobile. And this is a Batmobile for your 6-inch figures. You could fit two 6-inch figures side by side in the cockpit of the Batmobile. I'm getting this shit. I don't have a single Batmobile besides maybe the Mattel one that I can put two people in the Batmobile next, you know, sitting next to each other. So this is a must. And you know it'll work well because Robin is smaller than Batman, so it'll be easy for you to just put Robin in one side and put Batman on the other side. But it's fucking amazing shit. You know what I mean? Like, really fucking amazing shit. It makes me really happy that we finally are getting this. Someone finally said, you know, 6-scale collectors need a Batmobile that's actually sized for their figures. And then here comes the piece de resistance. It's the freaking icons. I've heard all kinds of things, and it was kind of funny listening to the Foosh podcast about Toy Fair 2015. You could literally hear the dick coming out of the mouths of the guys, you know, as they drool over all of the stuff that was coming from Hasbro, that was from Marvel Legends. Even the bad stuff, even the stuff that wasn't really impressive. But then when they got here, they said, I won't buy it until I see it. And I'm saying to myself, you just frothed at the mouth over figures that you already own that were just painted up to look different, you know, slightly different and, you know, to represent different characters. Here, you just got new sculpts, new articulation, everything, and it looks great. And you're going to diss them, and they bandwagon on Harley Quinn, you know, to each their own. But from what I see here, you already know the characters. The new articulation looks great. The accessory counts, the fact that some of them will have multiple hands and multiple, you know, like the freaking, what you see here. Batman has more hands. Superman obviously doesn't really need hands. It would have been cool probably to give him fists and open hands, but whatever. This Green Arrow, man, I saw a Green Arrow and I was just like, yep, I'm going to get that. It's dope that they're finally, I mean, I'm not going to say finally, but it's dope that they're going back and they're filling the void left from DCUC and they're starting at the top. So these might very well replace most of our DCUC people if the QC stands up, you know? That's the only thing you got to wait and see with these guys. You can already tell the sculpts are amazing. The accessories are really well thought out, you know? Flash with the supersonic treadmill or whatever. Like, yes, please, give it to me. You know what I mean? Like, hell yeah, I'll get that. 2, he's got the runner's hands. I heard people say, you know, not digging the hands. It's the Flash. It's Barry Allen as the Flash. You're going to pose him running. He's got 2, you know, chopping, running hands. Like, that works. The only person I have an issue with, I don't like the face on Aquaman. It looks like Frank Quietly's artwork, and the body doesn't fit, you know, the head. So I hope that he gets a different head when we get the figure, by the time we get the figure. And then, you know, but articulation-wise, I'm just like, man, this is freaking dope. The fact that they have that diaphragm at the top and then ab crunch at the bottom. Perfect. It's perfect. I don't know, you know me, I'm not a Hal Jordan fan. The figure looks awesome. I would give this gear to like Jon Stewart or Kyle Rayner or something. But it looks good. It looks really good. I mean, I was kind of like, ew, who's that? Because I saw the picture of him in the armor separate from the picture of him, you know, without any of that gear on. So I thought it was like a separate character until you realize it's transparent. I'm like, okay, good, good. That works for me. But the figure looks really good. It's just like he looked in Emerald Knights. And I dig that in First Flight also. And in what was the beginning of what was it called? Was it called Emerald Dawn? I can't remember, but it was when Ethan Van Sciver started drawing him when they redid everything and they did the Blackest Night and Brightest Day and all that shit before the New 52. I like it. It's not bad. And then they throw in this New 52 Black Adam. I'm like, wait, what? All these other characters are pre-New 52 and then you throw him in? But it looks good. It looks better than the one we got before. Like I said, as long as the QC holds up, these guys will be the go-to versions of a lot of these figures. They'll be the replacement classics. I mean, and there's nothing else to say. It's not even dick riding. It's just what you see in front of you. I mean, look at that. Didn't we get one of these from DCUC? This already looks like he will be as good, if not better, than what we got from the DCUC version. Because this guy comes with blaster hands. You can remove the wings. And there's something else too, some other removable part that he comes with as well. So I was blown away with what I've seen. You know, the sculpts aren't bad at all. Mr. Miracle, he's another one of those characters I never got from DCUC, and I can't really tell you why I didn't. Oh, yes, I can, because Barda is too small. So I was always looking for a bigger version of Barda so I could get you know, a different version of Mr. Miracle. And these are 6-inch scale. So these will fit in with what you have as far as DCUC goes, and you can mix and match if you need to, or you could just replace figures wholesale, you know. Atomica and the Atom. I think that's Ryan Choi Atom. Yes, I want those. Yes, I want those. She can go in my, you know, Crime Syndicate of America or Injustice Society, whatever you want to call them, and he can go in my Justice League. Perfect. I have no complaints. Deadman. Deadman's another character. I didn't even, like, I never saw his figure in the DCUC, so this will be my opportunity to have a Deadman figure. And he looks kind of smaller than the others. I mean, it might be the same body. I hope they kind of shrink down the, you know, musculature for him. But, you know, if not, he kind of is that character, and some artists draw him that way. Lex. I don't know about Lex. I might get him because I still have to get the big armored suit Lex. But I don't really know how I feel about that figure. He looks good. I mean, it's the first time you're going to have him in the armor, the classic purple and green armor. I mean, even though this is New 52, it's still the purple and green armor. And you'll be able to actually pose him. So, you know, he might be a plus. But quality shit. Mezco. Whoo-wee. We're getting to the good shit, the real good shit now. This Dark Knight Returns figure, the 112 collective figure, I've been looking at this thing for a long time, and I can't wait for it to come out. I think they're going to be $80 when they release. Look at the amount of just ingenuity. Look at the cape, the build quality of that cape, the fabric, the extra material in the little scallops. It's just a beautiful fucking figure. And he comes in these 3 different, you know, variants because there's 3 different, you know, tones of the costume in the film, or in the comic and film, you know. He comes with all this shit. It's almost like getting a Hot Toys figure, except this is going to be the same size as your, you know, regular 6-7-inch figures. I can't wait for this figure. They also did a Mutant Leader. I don't know if they're doing a 2-pack with these guys, which I would imagine would be expensive if they did. But, you know, at some point, I would like to get both of them just so I can have them sitting. I'll build my own diorama and I'll have them sitting there, you know, maybe have Batman breaking his back or something, you know what I mean? Like, I'll have my little diorama and I'll be really happy with them, or I'll just have the Batman himself. But that's really awesome. And then they're doing other characters like Judge Dredd. Now, if they release that cycle with Dredd, this is bought. My wife can be mad at me all she wants. This will be sitting in my man cave. And it's just well done figure. It doesn't look anything like the Batman figure, so right there, even if they are the same base body, they still sculpted enough stuff to go on top of that fabric costume to make him look different. I'm hoping they have different musculature. And now for Figma, this is where I get to geek out a little bit. So about 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, they showed this Bruce Lee figure, and then we never heard anything about it. And then at the Winter Wonder Festival this year, they showed the Bruce Lee figure again. They always bring a bunch of Figmas with them, and they brought the Bruce Lee figure. I want this shit, you know, because I'm a Bruce Lee fan. I have a lot of Bruce Lee stuff. Bruce Lee is the reason why I ever even started martial arts, and I've trained in Jeet Kune Do. I am certified in Jeet Kune Do. I can teach. And I have taught. So this is like a serious piece that I need to have. Then, Leonidas from 300. Yes, I want a Leonidas from 300. Are you kidding me? I don't care what the politics are. I don't care what the real history is. The version in the film was a badass. The version in the comic was a badass. It'd be nice to have a badass looking Spartan in my like sword and sorcery area with all my masters and my McFarlane figures and, you know, whatever else is over there. And he looks good, and he's not even fully painted. And if that cape is just a big cloth cape without the wire going through it, then yes, you know, if it has a wire, I'm going to have to go through and change it. It looks like they had a bunch of other figures as well, and I want to say these are themed. They look like Berserk figures, and I'm pretty sure that's who they are. And there are some Berserk characters on my list here, and I'm going to show you them. They're just interesting sculpts, interesting characters. Interesting looking characters. I'm not really into Berserk, but I would get them to have visually interesting villains to add to whatever setup I have going on in my cave at the time. Femto looks really good. I did read Berserk, and I also watched the anime because my brother, Agent O, is really big into it, and I watched it, and I fucking hated it. There's an anime, or I'm sorry, a manga called Blaster Knuckle that I think is way better. Berserk is just too gratuitous everything, and I just was like, man, and it was depressing as fuck. So, but these figures look really dope. I know it's kind of far away, you can't see all the detail, but I like what I'm seeing, and if they release them and they're reasonably priced, which I mean, for, you know, imports, they're usually at like $40. I could do that, you know what I'm saying? So I might be getting those. For your Star Wars fans, I'm not a big Star Wars fan. It's actually one of my least favorite sci-fi series, period, with some cool characters, you know, peppered in there. But here's a Boba Fett. I'm kind of like, I don't know. It's a good looking figure, don't get me wrong, but he's just not my shit, you know what I mean? He didn't really do anything in the series. That's why I don't get why people are so apeshit about him. Now, this guy, yes. I think I already pre-ordered him same time as I pre-ordered the Figma Saber 2.0, and I really want that. But this figure, now, when I bitch and moan about why I can't stand Marvel Legends anymore, why I'm so tired of the overhyped bullshit that a lot of the fanboys of Marvel Legends do, and you know, they talk them up like they do everything, and then they don't do even the most basic of things. Whereas you go over to Figma, and then you just look at the character, and that looks better than what he looked like in the game. Every weapon, every pose, all the things you saw him do in the game, you can do, you know, with this figure. And when you see the accessories that he comes with, it's just like, holy shit. This figure's due out, I want to say spring of this year. It'll probably be later because there's been all these shipping issues with you know, import figures, you know. Stuff going on in Cali at the different ports, and so I don't know when, but it's going to be sometime spring, maybe, you know, early summer. But look at that, he comes with hands so that he can actually like hang off the ledges, which was a new feature. He comes with a box, he comes with a cigarette, or a hand with the cigarette in it, so he can sit there and smoke. And that's just a couple of it, not to mention he comes with all his guns and shit. You just don't get that here. Rin Tosaka, she's a character from Fate Stay Night. She's one of the two main characters, and this is the version from Unlimited Blade Works, which I'm in the process of watching now. I watched the OVA, and now I'm watching the series. I like this simpler, you know, kind of prudish costume. You know, it's a uniform, and it looks cool, and, you know, I want to get that figure. This is the dressed down version of Saber, who I just mentioned a few minutes ago, that I had pre-ordered the Saber 2.0 and I'm still waiting for her. This figure, now I have mixed feelings on this because I've seen a review for this figure already, because I know some folks who went to the Winter Wonder Festival and already got these figures. And I think she's out now because of that, and she's more expensive. But I might not pick her up. Now, this is the Saber 2.0. She was supposed to be out in January, but you know, they pushed it back, and then issues with it. It came out in Japan in January, but out here we can't get her yet because there are issues with the whole delivery system. You know, they're doing things by boat, you know, getting the shipments over here to the US, and a lot of these places don't have it. I got mine from I ordered mine at Kieran Hobby, and I'm still waiting right now. I'm going to pick up Archer. I know that's an older figure, but I figured I'd just throw him in there. I'm going to pick him up because that's a pretty dope figure, well done figure, and I just dig the look. I've always digged the look, and as soon as I learned there was a figure, I was like, yeah, I have to get him. And he's more expensive, but I will pick him up. The EX Sprite, I forgot what the name of her bike is, but I need to get this. This is an older thing, but they always show older figures at these festivals, various toy fairs and festivals. So it's good to see that this thing is still, you know, got mileage in it. It's still a good looking bike, better than any shit we got here. And I love the figure on top of it too. I'm going to get them both together. They're redoing Kirito and Asuna from Sword Art Online. I know a lot of people are like, that's so cheesy, blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to get it. I'm going to get them. They actually went back and retooled them. They were released back when the series came out, or maybe shortly afterwards. And I guess they sold out quickly, and they were like, hey, we can make more money. Let's redo them. And this is what I'm talking about. Redo your figures. Make them better. Lastly, we get Ryoko from Kiru La Kiru. I think it's dope that they're not redoing, but giving us the dressed down version of her. This is what I'm saying we need more of with our American characters. If you're gonna give us variant after variant after variant, instead of coloring them in some weird garish kind of, you know, color scheme, why not just give us a dressed down version of the character so it could be something equally as well done in our collections? You know what I mean? That's not a lot to ask for. It's simple shit like this that I expect at this point from my, you know, various toy designers or whatever. I mean, if you look at NECA, they've done a bunch of versions of Gypsy Danger, but there's always something different about the figure. One's battle damage. One is the version, after the intro, you know, years later, as opposed to the one in the epilogue or whatever, prologue. Yeah, the one in the intro. Little things like that, you know what I mean? Like, that makes sense, and that helps give each of those different designs worth, because they did show up, they are valid, they do make sense, and each of them will have different details that you highlight, you know, for different reasons in the 2 different figures, or the 3 or 4 different figures, you know? Like back in the day when Enterbrain did all the Bruce Lee figures, and each of them had like different clothes from different appearances. Like each one means something different to each person getting them, because there are people still alive who may have seen him wear that. Or there are fighters who their favorite footage of Bruce Lee was when he was wearing this particular clothing and he said this particular thing. And every time you see it, you see the figure, it takes you back to that. So, you know, there's worth to it. So all this shit where we see these Marvel Legends where it's like, hey, here's Iron Man painted up in black and gold, but you didn't retool anything. Here's Iron Man painted up in silver and red, but you didn't retool anything. It's still the Mark III or the Mark IV or the whatever. Like, that's not a smart move in my opinion. And the fact that they had to train a lot of the fans to go and get that. And Mattel's no different. Mattel did the same shit with all their Batmans that are all these different weird colors and shit like that. And it's like, just give me different characters, different versions of the character, not just color schemes. So anyway, this ends my coverage of all this stuff. I think that I geeked out more, obviously, on the tail end, because more of the stuff was down my alley. You know, I like Marvel characters just as much as I like DC, but they're not releasing the ones that I want. So for me, it's kind of simple. I'm pretty much just focused on what I'm focused on. I you know, I pointed out some of the things I pointed out on my personal feelings on some of these lines and whatnot, just because, you know, it kind of just plays back into things that I usually say on my videos. So, you know, I hope it's not too much rage and you just get where I'm coming from. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hit me up in the comments and let me know, you know, what you're looking forward to from, you know, Toy Fair 2015 or just in general for this year, because, you know, there's a lot obviously that's coming out. So that's it for me. You've been great, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So I will catch you on the next video. Peace outside, guys.